Hare Krishna. So now this is going live. So I'm sharing. Just Mataji, tell me when the full screen gets shared. Just tell me it's okay. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji's screen is visible. Just
Not full screen. Now is this is full
now
screen,
full
right?
screen. Yes, Prabhuji. Now this is full.
Hare Krishna. मम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धौ दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यो एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो 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 विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Let us hear Hare Krishna. Just so that the microphone is working for the participant. Let me know that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay, let's start. So this is chapter 14. Now before that we had chapter 13, which is Kshetrajna Yoga. So there are 5 questions which Arjuna asked. First, humble obeisance to Radha Govinda, and then we start. So this was 13 chapter which we completed last Friday. So there were 5 sections, no, in fact 6 sections. So initially Arjuna 6 questions: Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnanam, Gayam. So do you remember what he meant by Kshetra? What is Kshetra? Hare Krishna. What is Kshetra? Jai Shri Mataji. What is Kshetra?
Kshetra means own body.
Yeah, it's a body, or we can say, yes, this is the body. And which Kshetrajna?
Kshetragya is super soul.
Only super soul?
Uh,
There are two Kshetrajnas.
yes.
One is soul, our own soul, and also super
Yes.
soul. So
Yes.
what is the difference between Kshetra and Kshetrajna? I mean, two Kshetrajnas. So soul
One,
knows about the activity of the body, and super soul knows about all the
activities.
activities of all the bodies, all the living entities, everyone.
Yes. Yes.
And then Prakriti is a material nature. Purusha means what? Hare Krishna, enjoyer. So there is only one Purusha, Krishna. And Jnanam, what is Jnanam? Kshetra Gayor Jnanam, Yat Jnanam, Tat Jnanam Matirmama. So the Jnana or the knowledge about Kshetra and Kshetrajna, that Jnana or that knowledge is supposed to be the knowledge, and rest of any other knowledge is supposed to be crap. Now 13.2 to 13.7, Krishna answers to question 3, 4. 3, 4 was exactly the Kshetra and Kshetragya and the field of activities. Field of activities is primarily the body and the knower of the field. So we also, had the example of, a bigger land, a small land by a person who knows, the farmer knows about his land, but the king knows all the lands of all the people. That was the beautiful simile, or you can say analogy, which was given. Then 13.8 to 13.12, Krishna further answers to question 5, which is Jnanam, which is just talked about the process of knowledge and liberation. 13.13 to 13.19, Krishna further answers to question 6, that is on Gayam, the object of knowledge. And Krishna answers question, and finally he answers question 1 and 2. What is material nature and who is the enjoyer? So here onwards, this is the connection between chapter 13 and chapter 14, because he had chosen to answer the question 1 at the last about the material nature. So from the material nature, we'll know about the modes of material nature. And this chapter is all about the modes of material nature. Right. So this is the chapter 14. So section A is 1 to 4, 4 verses. This is a very small chapter in the sense that there are only 27 verses. So 1 to 4 deals with the liberation and the conditioning of the living entity. And then 5 to 9, description of binding of pure soul by the three modes. So how pure soul is pure, transcendental. So how does it? Because it is ajo nitya shashwata and purana. So if it is shashwata and it particularly shashwata, then how it gets entangled with the material nature, how the modes operate, that will learn from 5 to 9, and 10 to 13. Recognize the supremacy of mode within a person. So in a person, there could be three modes. And what are the three modes? Hare Krishna, what are the three modes? Whatever is the existing knowledge, please tell me based on your level 1, understanding.
That is Prabhuji Gunas, Sattva, Raja, Tama.
Sattva, Rajas, and Tama. So these are the three modes of nature. And in English, it is goodness, passion, and ignorance. So goodness, passion, and ignorance are the three modes. What happens in a person is that one particular quality or mode of nature predominates. So the dominant quality is what is called that person is under that particular influence of the guna. So somebody is in sattva guna means it doesn't mean that he doesn't have zero, tama guna and raja guna. It's not possible. He definitely has other gunas also, but then the most predominant quality is the sattva guna. Let's say that's how it is. And then 14 to 18 is actions and death within the modes. So what happens if somebody dies in the mode of sattva? What happens when somebody dies in the mode of raja? And what happens when somebody dies in the mode of tama or ignorance? That's quite natural. The moment we say somebody is ignorant or the living entity is ignorant because of uh, less of purification, not going through the parampara, not doing as per the scriptures, going against scriptures, doing all kinds of activities which are not at all prescribed. So when such things happens, then definitely ignorance happens, and which leads to delusion, sleep, and further miseries, and all those things will learn. Now, Lord Krishna is supposed to be above all these three modes. So, if he's supposed to be above all three modes, then what he should be called then? Hare Krishna. So he's above Sattva, Raja, and Tama. He's above all this. So what he's called? Someone says he's called Nirguna. In fact, Nirguna would mean that he doesn't have any quality. However, he's got all the qualities, all the possible qualities he has. Right? So his guna is transcendental. That's the right answer. So 14.1, I think I should take the book. We have time because the verse is not here. So we can straight away go to the book and read the verse 1. So verse 1 is Shri Bhagavanuvacha Parang Bhuyah Pravakshami Jnananam Jnanam Uttamam Yat Gyatva Munayah Sarve Parang Siddhi Amito Gataha. So the Blessed Lord said, again I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained to supreme perfection. So now we're talking about perfection. Can you remember any other verse which talks about the perfection in the previous chapters? Hare Krishna. Yatatam api. Some verse was there. Out of many who endeavor, only some become expert or some become perfect. Out of the perfect, only very few can attain me. Yatatam api sarvesham. Try to remember that verse. Okay, now on the right hand side, there's a beautiful, you can see so many sages, which are, in fact, who are coming from a wonderful sacrifice which is done by a king. So, who was the king and who are these rishis? Can anyone guess? Just any guess? Hare Krishna. So, there is a king, we can see that. And the king has performed certain wonderful sacrifice or a yajna, fire sacrifice, and he has invoked these 9 sages. So they are called Nava. What they're called? Nava Yogendras. So they are Yogendras. So they are in fact perfect. They have attained perfection and thereby they're able to answer all the queries. And the king is no other than Maharaj Nimi, who has conducted this beautiful fire sacrifice, and he has asked all the primeval questions that humanity has been trying, and what Bhagavad Gita has answered, or Krishna has already answered. He has also asked all these questions. So what the questions are: what is a supreme good for humankind? What are the different characteristics of a pure devotee? What is bhakti yoga? What are the different Lord's energies? We have already understood that, right? 3 energies Lord has: Antaranga Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, Tatastha Shakti. All that we have understood. And what is mukti? What are the different kinds of liberation? What does it mean? What is more important is the point number 6. That is, how does he remain? He means God or Krishna remain untouched by the material nature. Now, living soul gets entangled to the material nature, and thereby he or she, I mean, the soul gets trapped uh, into the mode and behaves accordingly. So the moment somebody is trapped with the mode of sattva, he behaved like a sattva. Some kind of goodness he always does. Similarly, the kind of goodness, I mean, the passion, somebody will be always doing continuous endeavor for something, more, and more. This is not enough. 100 is not enough. 1 million is not enough. 100 million is not enough. So on and so forth will go on. Here they answer. Perfect sages, they answer all the 9 questions. And one of the question is how Lord is unattached. Although the material nature is part of him, but he is unattached. Like the Padma Patra Vibhambasa. That's the right example we can understand. Now 14.2, let us read. It is not there, so I'm reading from the book. So, yeah, let's go. Idam Jnanam Upasritya mama sadharmyam agataha sargepi napojayante pralayena vyathanti cha. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, by becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature which is like my own nature. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation, nor disturbed at the time of dissolution. So Krishna is saying you will get my nature, means Krishna's nature. That is the eternal. So his nature is eternal. His nature is Sachidananda. He is Sachidananda Vigraha. Ishwara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. Anadir Adir Govinda. Sarva Karanam Karanam. That nature one will get once you are fixed in this knowledge, he's saying. Now, one very interesting statement also Krishna is giving is one is not born at the time of creation, not disturbed at the time of dissolution. What does it mean? During the creation, he's not getting born, and during dissolution also he's not disturbed because he is with the perfect knowledge. So he has already achieved, he's already liberated, and he's already achieved what the liberated souls have achieved. And thereby none of this matter, none of this disturbs, neither the creation, neither he is born in the creation nor the dissolution disturbs him. Okay, so next, let's also understand in little more detail. So we can see Maya Devi here. See the in fact, she is a servant of Krishna. However, for all the living entities, desire. The moment there is a desire to lord over the nature, we get entangled. If there is no desire, naturally there will not be any entanglement. But there is no one who doesn't have any desire. That's what Prabhupada says. But desire to serve Krishna is not a material desire. Desire to serve Krishna is absolutely a spiritual desire. So if that and that comes under the Yukta Vairagya. Rishikena Rishikesa Sevanam Yukta Vairagyam Uchyate. So understanding this chapter help one to attain liberation and transcendental nature, that like Krishna. And 14.2, I mean, that is the second verse. Then knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection. And those 9 sages that we talked about, they all have in fact perfected with that knowledge. Now 14.3, very, very important and one of the most beautiful verse of Bhagavad Gita. Mama yonir mahat brahma tasmin garbham dadhamiyam aham sambhavah sarvabhutanam tato bhavati bharata. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata. O son of Bharata. So therefore he's calling him Bharata. So many of the time, many of the verses we see Krishna addressing Arjuna, Partha, Dhananjaya, uh, Kaunteya, and here he's calling him Bharata. Bharata is primarily that who belongs to the dynasty of Bharata Maharaj, Bharata Rishi. So, and here what he's saying is that the total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I being pregnant. So he's saying that he is the material nature. If we look at material nature, then it is the mother of all bodies. So body, the living entities, any living entity, 84 lakh of species is there. So any of the living entity who have a body, the moment they get a body, we can just understand that this body is given by the mother nature. So our mother is material nature. But who is father then? Then father is Krishna. He in fact impregnates and he say, Aham bija pradapita. Every living entity which gets a body, it is through Krishna who gives the seed to the material nature to create a particular kind of body that the soul deserves. And that we know how the karma works, how the thoughts at the time of death works, all that we have already studied. Now this 14.4, Sarvayonisu Kaunteya Murtaya Sambhavanti Yaha Tasam Brahma Mahat Yonir Aham Bija Pradah Pita. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed giving father. So it is very simple. In fact, if you look at all the bodies, our everyone's father is Krishna. So by this, we can say that everyone is our brother or sister. So the universal brotherhood that we talk about is not a philosophy, it is reality, and this reality can be understood only when we accept what Arjuna accepts. Only when we accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and only when we accept Krishna as the seed giving father, then we become brothers. Otherwise, all this brotherhood, philosophy, various kinds of communism, socialism, this and that will not work. So this is the main understanding of three modes of nature. How the soul comes into the material world and is placed within the modes of three nature. So this is the process. The process is material nature is the mother supplying living entity with the body. So we can see here the chart where Mahat Tattva is there, which is the unmanifested, nature. Here we can see Krishna is there in his Golokadham, and we can no here we can see the Karanadakshaya Vishnu, rather, because so many bubbles are coming out from his nostril. When he is exhaling, so many universes are getting created, and when he is inhaling, and everything is going into his belly. Now when he is exhaling and all these universes are getting created from Karanadakshaya Vishnu, then we have Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, who goes to each of these universes, and in the each of the universes, every atom, Kshiradakshaya Vishnu, in fact, enters at the Parama. So that is the process. So how living entity gets entangled or attached? Because of its desire. So desire to have something, from desire to enjoy, and because of the desire to enjoy, he gets a particular type of body and he gets entangled. And Krishna gives the seed to material nature provides the body. The Lord puts him there by his potent glance, and thus he just glances on the material nature. So the impregnation doesn't happen through insemination, it happens through a glance, and thus impregnates the material nature with the seed. So he is the seed giving father. So summary of section B, description of binding of pure soul by the three modes. This is where we always, and this has been our question. Even in fact, my question, your question, and most of the devotees' question is that if we have been so pure and soul is supposed to be eternal, it's same in quality with that of Krishna, then why we get entangled? So this is the answer. The answer is on the right hand side of the picture where we see the, if you remember the chapter where we're talking about the inverted and the perverted tree, the reflection of the tree, that what was the barrier which was happening between the inverted image or the perverted image versus the real spiritual world. Spiritual world versus material world. The only barrier was the desire. That was deciding. So here the description is like we can look at the deities like Sattva, Raja, and Tama. We can imagine the deities like a Sattva, Raja, and Tama, and all the living entities, the bodies are kind of like puppets in the hands of the material. I mean, the modes of nature. So whoever is behaving in whichever way, it is not his. It's not his wish. It is not that he's intending to behave in that way. So if somebody says that no, I wanted to behave in that way, That time I was very calm. Now I wanted to act like I am a very angry person. Then I want to act like I am a very loving person. It is not like that. Nobody can act. Maybe in a movie somebody can act because that is a planned one. But in a normal life, when people, we can see people, a very, very innocent guy, and suddenly blasted. So where from this Raja Guna came up? Because anger is coming from, endeavor, and endeavor is not giving result. So anger is coming. So innocent person suddenly behaving in a particular way, we can understand that he is particularly now dominant and by particular mode of nature, that is maybe Raja. Rajastama iti guna prakriti sambhavaha nibat nibatnanti mahabhaho dehi dehinam abhyayam. Material nature consists of the three modes. Goodness, as Mataji was saying, the Sattva, Raja and Tama, which is goodness, passion and ignorance. When the living entity comes in contact, this is the line. When the living entity comes in contact with the nature. And why does it come? Or why does entity comes? Because that is a desire to enjoy. He becomes conditioned by these modes. So there is somebody wants something, somebody wants to do some sacrifice to go to the higher planets. So that's a desire. So he does all kind of good things, read scriptures, do as per the prescribed duties, everything he does. But then he is caught by the mode of sattva. For goodness, happiness, all that is fine, but still he is conditioned. So we can't say that goodness is the best because it is also, if you look at, there is still the ropes are there. So even a person in the goodness is also bound. So what is the solution? Solution is going beyond these three modes. That is the solution. And that can happen only when we go to the mode of Shuddha Sattva. So that guna is called, that is not a guna, that is beyond the guna, that is Shuddha Sattva stage, which all the perfect sages, all our gurus in our parampara, any guru in our parampara, our founder Acharya, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Saraswati, Bhaktivedanta, Srila Prabhupada, he is guru. Everyone, Sri Chaitanya Thakura, everyone is, in the Suddha Sattva stage. But all of us are either we are playing sometimes in goodness, sometimes in passion, sometimes maybe in ignorance. But yes, this bhakti is not possible without the minimum requirement is goodness. Otherwise, bhakti is not possible. When we are saying Hrishikena Hrishikesa Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate, how it is possible if we are not in goodness? So this is so let us understand this way that eternal living entity, the soul, is transcendental. And transcendental means simple. It is beyond or above the three modes. Somebody who is above three modes is transcendental. But what happens? Now the living entity comes in contact with the material nature, and material nature consists of the three modes. So the three modes are part of material nature. It consists of this material nature. And it is permanent because in the beginning of study of Bhagavad Gita, absolutely on the first class, in the introductory class, in fact, that which are the five things we talk or read, understand, simulate in Gita is one of the thing is the nature. So Prakriti is one, Kala is one. So many things were there. God is one, Karma is one, right? So once it comes in contact with the material nature, with the three modes, either goodness or passion or ignorance, then it becomes conditioned by the mode and forced to act according to these modes. It is forced. There's an invisible force. So I think Arjuna was asking in the previous chapter, it is something this, in fact, he was referring to lust, that it is something like a balada. He has used the word balada. It is like a force. So we cannot see the threads. For example, the other one is that when we discuss about, let's say, Sutra Manegana Eba, the in a necklace, we cannot see the thread. Similarly, the entire world, entire creation, entire cosmos, everything is uh, you know put together only by Krishna. Once the thread is broken, then everything will just fall down. This is example of the thread. But here the rope or thread is something which binds the living entity, which should be cut. In fact, what we understood in the inverted tree chapter is that you should use the X of what? Detachment. Only the X of detachment can cut. So transcendental would mean Satchid and Ananda. Sat is eternal, Chit is knowledge, and Anand is blissfulness or bliss. Then 14.6. Tatra Sattvam Nirmalatvat Prakashakam Anamayam Sukha Sangena Badhanati Jnana Sangena Chanagha. O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating and it frees one from all sinful reaction. Those situated in that mode develop knowledge, but they become conditioned by the concept of happiness. So it has got so many good things to be in the mode of goodness, or to be in the mode of sattva, because the first important thing is that it frees one from all sinful reactions. And this is what we require immediately to before liberation. This is what is needed. That one is free from all sinful reaction. The most beautiful thing. However, and they also develop knowledge. So there is knowledge, there is happiness, there is freedom from the sinful reactions. All these three are working beautifully and so well. However, there is problem is they are also conditioned by the concept of happiness, that will get more happiness. So what happens? So because they do not do any sin, for example, the philosophers, even the poets, even some of the scientists who are endeavoring, they are not in fact endeavoring, they're uh, just thinking about something, that how something works. So by thinking like that, he's definitely not doing any sin. The kind somebody, if somebody is continuously in a research mode, he will not be doing any sin. But by the result of the research, maybe some beautiful thing will come, and that will give them maybe some kind of enjoyment. For example, if wonderful sacrifices can be done as per the scriptures, then somebody will go to the higher planets. It can go to the Swarga Loka, enjoy like in the Indrasava, enjoy the Apsaras, enjoy the Somarasa, and so on and so forth. Go to the Siddha Loko. In the Siddha Loko, everybody can fly. So they not only can fly in Siddha Loko, all the rishis are there and all the siddhas are there in the Siddha Loko, and everybody can fly and they can move from one planet to other, like Narada Muni. He can. So all this can happen. But again, they will come back to the material world once the punya is over. So chinne. So they said chinne. Chinne means when it becomes sheena, and very very slowing down, and finally it is totally dissolved. If that happens, then ultimately chinne pune vishanti martya loke. So this is called martya loka. Why it is called martya loka? Because it is Janma, Mrityu, Jara, and Vyadhi. Out of these four, this one word is Mrityu. So from Mrityu comes the Martya Loka. So the Martya word is coming from Mrityu. Therefore, it is called Martya Loka. Okay, this we'll see later on. Now, 14.7. Rajoragat mak Rajoragatmakam vidhi Trishna Sangha Samudbhavam Tannibhatnati Kunteya Karma Sangena Dehinam. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings. O son of Kunti, and because of This one is bound to material fruitive activities. So I think the entire world, if some progress is happening, some modernization is happening, the civilization happening, whatever is happening, we can just give the credit to the Rajagun. Because of this, all the big projects happen. Because of this, everything is happening. Because people want something more, something more. So one car, not possible, not maybe, you know, today this is iPhone, something, I don't know what iPhone, which number has come now. I think now it is, I don't know, maybe 2014, 16, whatever is there. So one is not satisfied continuously. So he will give continuous endeavor, unlimited desire. Desire will not stop. And because of that, he will continuously come, come back to this world. Because his results he can have only in this world. So he has to come back. So therefore, the Rajagunis will come back to this material world again and again. So 14.8. Okay, we can see the video also. Okay. 14.8. Tamastvo ajnanajam vidhi mohanam sarvadehinam pramadalasya nidravhis tan nibadhati bharata. So there are two, three important words. One is ajnanajam vidhi. It is primarily the ignorance which causes the mohana, means the delusion. So ajnana leading to mohanam, which is delusion, and this result of this mode is madness, and madness is called pramada. And then there are other three words are there: pramada, alasya, and nidra. All this happens in the mode of ignorance. Now it goes to the permanent fall down. So one starts with, let's say, we talk about intoxication. So in the mode of ignorance, anything that you can imagine or even cannot imagine can happen in the mode of ignorance. I mean, the worst of the worst sins can happen because one gets first intoxicated. After intoxication, then something else happens. Some other bad activities happen. Some murder can happen. Some rape can happen. Anything can happen. So there is no limit to it. And naturally, because of these various kinds of sins, which they do in the mode of ignorance, they again go to the hellish planets or maybe sometimes the animal planets. Okay, so the summary is this. So first thing is how binds the living entities. So goodness or the sattva, what it gives, it is illuminating, no doubt. It frees one from all sinful reactions. And those situated in the mode of goodness becomes conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. So the binding factor is happiness and knowledge. That is the binding factor. Because they want to be more happy, they want to be more knowledge. After some time, in fact, they take pride on the knowledge. I know so much of verses. I have, got by heart all the verses of Gita, all 700. That becomes a pride. Pride becomes attachment. Happiness is there, right? So that's now after this, it takes one to the platform, but beyond that, now he has to go to the Suddha Sattva. That is what the nectar of devotion is there, how to go to Shuddha Sattva. Then goodness conditioning. So let's say the next one. The best example of goodness is what we just talked about. The scientists, the philosophers, the poets. And what that causes a sense of happiness? Because one is more or less free from these sinful reactions, because they do not do sin by making research or by writing a poetry. One doesn't do any sin. However, the destiny is there is hardly any chance for liberation because they do not get out of that mode. So they come back and again and again. So that is the destiny. And who are the representative type of goodness? The Brahmana represents mode of goodness. And how the three types of conditioned living entities act? Goodness are happy, passionate people. We say now somebody is very, very passionate about his work. He's very passionate. What does it mean? Means he's very active, always active, because without action. So action, if you look at, the, I think this relates to our another verse which talks about yogi, a perfect yogi does action in inaction and inaction in action. It fits perfect here because this action is in fact not inaction. This is because inaction is perfect, akarma. But this action is something which binds. And ignorance, of course, somebody who is already intoxicated and drug addicts, all kind of addictions, they become helpless, of course. They go to the hospitals, they make suicides, many things can happen. So naturally they are helpless. Then let us look at the next mode of. So next is what? Passion. So what happens in a passion conditioning? Because in a passion, one will have unlimited desire, non-stop endeavor. So passion primarily binds by the ropes of desire and attachment. And it is characterized by strong attraction. So what is the character? Very, very strong attraction. I want this, I want iPhone, I want that, I want this position, this designation, this salary, or this business, or this hotel, whatever. So all these are very, very strong. In fact, people do their uh, people who have not come to the Krishna consciousness. So there are other people who are supposed to be the life coaches, so-called life coaches. What they teach that you should have some passion in your life. You should have goals in your life. And what is the goal? They do not know that the only goal is to reach Krishna. So they want to say that if you are a goalless person, means you do not have any goal, then you must make it. At this age, 25, you should do this. By 35, you should, go around the world, whatever. So many things. And if you do not have all this, then your life is useless. But that is not the fact. Our home becomes Vrindavan. Our mind becomes Vrindavan. That's what we learn. So how the mode of passion binds the living entities? This is how it is. It binds the living entities through the desire and attachment. And what is the advancement of modern civilization? This is where any kind of advancement that we see, any kind of scientific development that we see, any kind of engineering and technological development that we see. In fact, let's say today we are talking about AI, then so many other things, not only artificial intelligence, but also, uh, various kinds of other uh, area of development. All this will come under, in fact, Raja, because without Raja, this is not possible, or Rajas. So what are the some products of modes of passion? We can see hankering for material enjoyment continuously, sense gratification. So if I get this, I'll have more money, so I'll have more pricely, intoxication. So that is how the sense gratification happens. Once honor in society, one's happy family with the wife, house, children to construct a residence for sense gratification, not for Krishna. One works hard for a palatial house as if it is eternal. Everyone knows that nobody will reach 100. There are some people in Japan who has reached 100, but knowing fully well is that in Kali Yuga it is just not possible. But still they think that is eternal. Again the same question which you know the Yaksha asked to Yudhishthira. That what is the most wonderful thing in this world? And all the rest of the Pandavas, in fact, they were dead because they could not answer the question. And the answer was that everyone thinks that he sees everyone dying, but he still thinks that he is eternal. And this is what, in fact, these Rajas people also think. Who is in the mode of But when we say rajas people or tamas people or goodness people, that would not be the right thing to say, because it may be the predominant quality of the person and an average predominant quality of the person, but he can develop, he can always switch from one to other by doing. Let's say somebody who has come in the fold of Krishna consciousness, he's doing the sadhana every day. If he has been in the passion or in has been ignorant, slowly definitely he will go to the sattva. So it is possible. So it is not right to brand that some guna or some particular mode of action is the character of a particular person. It is not. So who is their destiny? Or what is their destiny? No chance of liberation, naturally. So no chance of liberation in case of goodness, no chance of liberation in case of passion. And of course, there will not be any chance in case of ignorance, because we already said that they will go to the hellish planets or even the animal kingdom. So ignorance conditioning is how the ignorance binds. It's called as delusion. Doesn't see what it is. It cannot see the fact. If you tell them that this is the right, you please read Bhagavad Gita, then the first reaction perhaps he will give is that, oh, you must be talking something, nonsense. Uh, so therefore, he was saying absolutely in the delusion. They cannot even understand what is the truth, what is the fact. In a normal life, also they cannot understand. And then they, madness, indolence, sleep. Then, of course, apart from intoxication, there can be suicide, drug addict. All this will come under this category. And laziness. So these are the binding factors. So slowly they will like and love laziness. They will like sleep. All this will happen. Therefore, I think in beautiful, in Sanskrit, there is something called Subhashitam. Subhashitam means very good, uh, verses which are written by some sage at some point of time. So Subhashitam doesn't come with, the name of the writer. It just comes as a like a, you know good message, morning message, that we receive something of that sort, but in a very, very higher taste. So that higher taste, one of that such verse was Nahi suptasya singasya pravishyanti mukhe mrugaha. So for the sleeping, I mean, if a lion is sleeping, then the deers will not just enter to his mouth. Udyamena hi siddhanti karyani. Only by endeavor, the job can be done. So maybe this mode of passion, and the people who are more in passion have, taken this verse very, very seriously. So what are the characteristics of the ignorance? How it is manifested? By madness and laziness. And as we know that 6 hours sleep is sufficient, but they will want for 10 hours, 11 hours, 12 hours, always dejected, not interested in the life, intoxicated. Uh, they cannot take up any good project. In fact, it is better, in fact, to be in passion. It is better, always better. If somebody cannot be in sattva, it is much better to be in passion than ignorance. At least passion, good things are happening. One is that at least he's coming to the material world. At least he's having a human form. These two are at least happening. But in case of ignorance, it is so dangerous. So what is the destiny? Again, no chance of liberation. So it's a dangerous way of living in the mode of ignorance. Sattam sukhe sanjayati rajah karmani bharata jnanamaprita tu tamaha pramade sanjayati uta. The mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion conditions him to fruits of action, and ignorance to madness. We can see here the top one is goodness, the middle one is passion, and the bottom one is the ignorance. Well, they go to the hellish planets or the animal planets because they, indiscriminate eating, etc., happens in case of passion, and in the Sattva, they do a lot of good sacrifices, go to the various lokas. You can see Brahma here, they can go to Brahma Loka, they can go to Siva Loka, they can go to Siddha Loka, etc., etc. Here in the passion, they take birth in this planet and come again and again. Yeah. So can I get what is the time now? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. What is the time? Can I get Hare Krishna?
It's 9:49.
Okay. Okay. So we have some time. So 49:50. So another 10 minutes to go. Okay. Great. So let's go ahead. So summary of section C. Yeah. So recognizing the supremacy of a mode within a person. So how one particular mode of you know mode of action, how it dominates other. So there is always a competition between the modes. All the three modes are there within us. So there is goodness, there is passion, there is ignorance. But sometimes the goodness overpowers the rest of the two. Sometimes passion overpowers the rest of the two, and that way it happens. So there is a continuous competition. So sometimes the mode of passion becomes prominent, defeating the mode of goodness, O son of Bharata, and sometimes the mode of goodness defeats passion, and other times the mode of ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for the supremacy. And because of this supremacy, this is the main reason why we say someone is in a particular guna. Because of that particular guna, actually, what has happened is that that becomes the supreme and it overpowers the other two. That the same example we can look at here. When somebody is, into passion, then he will not be interested for any kind of sadhana. If you say that, okay, the main objective of life is to reach Krishna, and the living entities, or to know about Kshetra and Kshetragya, to know that we are the permanent servitor of Krishna, all this knowledge he will not like. He will say, no, 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 this is okay. You carry on with that, but okay, let me endeavor. Let me endeavor. Let me do more and more work, get more and more money, more prestige, more honor, more this thing, and then take birth again and again. So that happens. So that dominates. So 14.11, the manifestations of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of very, very beautiful one. 14.11, let us read it. Okay. सर्वद्वारेषु सर्वदा सर्वद्वारेषु देहेऽस्मिन् प्रकाश उपजायते ज्ञानं यदा तदा विद्यात् विवृद्धं सत्त्वम् iti uta. The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of body are illuminated by knowledge. So how many gates we have? We have 9 gates. So what are the 9 gates? 2 ears, 2 nostrils, 2 eyes. So this one mouth. So this becomes 7. Then genitals, and then rectum. So these are the 9 gates, and these gates gets illuminated. And when you say illuminated, it only means, let's say we talk about mouth. So the persons who is illuminated, then he will always talk about Krishna. He will not talk about anything else. He will talk perfect knowledge. He will talk about perfect knowledge only. He will not talk any gibberish. He will not do any prajalpa or what is called grama katha. All that he will not do. Similarly, he will hear about Krishna. He will not hear anything which is not fit for liberation. So naturally, if we say that somebody's all the gates are illuminated, and he will take food also, the sattvic food, the right kind of food. So all this happens. The manifestation of the mode of goodness can experience when all the gates of the body are illuminated by the knowledge. 14.12. 14.12, we can read. लोभः लोभः प्रवृत्तिरारम्भः कर्माणाम् असमः स्पृह राजसीतानि जायन्ते विवृद्धे भरतर्षभ. O chief of Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, uncontrollable desire, hankering, and intense endeavor develop. So this is also in nectar of devotion. In fact, nectar of instruction, it is atyahara prayasascha. Atyahara prayasascha. These are something which are against bhakti. The moment all this happens, then one will be away from Krishna, which takes us away from Krishna. But in the mode of in the mode of passion, it is there. There's an uncontrolled. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. There is something. So in the mode of passion, this uncontrollable desire, hankering, and intense endeavor is there. So atyahara prayasascha. These two happens. Then 4.13. This is about the mode of ignorance or tama. So what happens? Let's look at the verse. So 14.13 is अप्रकाशो प्रवृत्तिश्च प्रमादो मोह एव च तामसी एतानि जायन्ते विवृद्धे कुरु नंदन. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested. You look at the four important words, and all are so dangerous to be in madness, to be in illusion, to be in inertia, and absolute darkness are manifested in the mode of ignorance. You can see this is the person who is absolutely a drug addict. The dangers of online gaming and everything that is happening nowadays. Even when the in the COVID time when the online classes started. In fact, now it is continuing also. Then, in fact, we had given the mobile phones and other things to the kids, and we can understand what kind of havoc the online thing has done. So people are getting addicted, and so many things are happening. Not able to, uh, wake up in time, not able to even go office. So we find so many such cases. Once addicted, then they think. In fact, the eightfold of fall down that we have learned already, that all happens in the mode of ignorance. It starts with, let's say, uh, just taking alcohol somewhere. The next time, so last time in the alcohol, what has happened was he has met with an accident and had gone to the, let's say, the prison, but he has forgotten about everything. So delusion happens, absolute delusion, memory loss. So the entire thing happens, and then the full fall down happens. So it is always better even to be in passion, at least, because if we are in the mode of passion, at least we'll come back to the this earth or this Martya Loka. There will be Janma Murtu Jara Vyadhi, all that will be there. Four miseries will be there. Other three miseries also will be there. But at least there will be a human form. And the moment we have a human form, then there's a chance. And the opportunity will be there for Krishna Seva. If the opportunity is there, then of course we can do something. And therefore, this what is written there? There's that Jalaja Namalakshani, Chatu Lakshani Manava. So therefore, Manava Janma is supposed to be this birth in the human form is supposed to be very, very rare opportunity because there is only 4 lakhs of species. And the entire material world is just 20% of the total thing. 80% is spiritual. So section D, 14 to 18 actions and death within the modes. What happens at death to one predominate by a sacrifice, a specific mode? I mean, any of the modes. And results of actions by one. I mean, I think there are some sounds coming. We can mute them. Let me see what they. Okay. Fine. Okay, great. So we can see here. Okay. So we carry on. Yeah, so this is actions and death within the modes. What happens to a person who is more in the mode of goodness, somebody who is in passion, and somebody in the mode of ignorance? What after death? What happens? See, one thing is very clear. We have seen in all the modes, there is no point, there is no question of liberation. However, what is their destiny? Exact destiny. Where they go, that will see in 14 to 15, and results of actions by one predominant by a specific mode. Okay, so 14.14, when one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains the pure higher planets. We can see here. We can see here, when one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets. So they are listening, and they are in all kinds of, uh, the qualities of goodness is there, like purity, you know, so all goodness is there. But only problem is that they again come down. Shine punne vishanti martyaloke. So therefore, one has to also, after some time, in goodness, that will lead to the bhakti stage. Bhakti will not lead to Suddha Sattva. If one is not in normal Sattva, it can never lead to Suddha Sattva. So Sattva is necessary, is a necessary platform for Bhakti. 14.15, when one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And when he dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. So we can see here. So we can see somebody is absolutely ignorant, indiscriminate about what to wear, what not to wear. There is nothing, there is no shame. So fine, if somebody wants to be naked, then let he or him become tree as it is. Then there is an indiscriminate eating. So in that case, he becomes a hog. So, so all this happens. Somebody is sleeping continuously. So the we know that witness, Paramatma is the witness. Paramatma tu chapiktu dehesmin purusha paraha. So he sanctions it, and he becomes the loth or the boar. In fact, devotional service therefore is recommended not at the old age. Very you'll hear many people saying that, oh, what you were saying, Bhagavad Gita. Oh, okay, fine. This is not the time. Now you're young. It is not the time. But now you do your job, enjoy the life, do your duty, masti karo and all that. This is for the old people after 60. But what Prahlad Maharaj was saying at the age of 7, what he was saying, that this is for the devotional practice has to start when somebody is in the Kumara stage, at the very, very young stage. Prabhupada, you look at Prabhupada, he went to America at the age of 69, and he was aghast. He was really, really aghast to see that people who were at his age, in a Sanatan Dharma, we know that at this age, we are supposed to have, after Garhastha Dharma, there is Banaprastha and there is Sannyasa. Or at least it is expected that after certain age, let's say 60 plus, or somebody should be turning their heads towards spirituality, towards Krishna consciousness, towards God. But he was totally aghast to see that all these people are just living their life, going to the club, into wine, into woman. So he was really terrified. Uh, and thereby his movement comes so fast. Within 1 year, he has established, ISKCON and 108 temples there. So, and in fact, somebody asked him that why your devotees, when he made the devotees, why your most of the devotees are young? That one time it was. So Prabhupada answered that, who do you see in a college or an university? Young people, isn't it? I mean, if you look at the university, you look at the young people. So similarly, the Krishna consciousness movement, the Krishna consciousness is a university. So it is so we should start at young. It's very important. Otherwise, Indriyani Pramathini, our senses are very, very powerful. In fact, the highest of the sages could not control it. It is Indriyani Pramathini, it is you know, so many similes are there. It is like wildfire, it is like the storm which can devastate. So many examples are there in Bhagavad Gita. So only way is Yukta Vairagya. That is, we divert our senses for the pleasure of the master of the senses. Rishikena Rishikesa Sevalam iti bhaktirichyate. So who is Rishikesha? Rishikesha is Krishna. And why is called Rishikesha? Because he is the master of senses. So our senses should be used for the pleasure and service of the senses of Rishikesha. Then the various cravings of our senses, like touch or smell or see or listen or hear, all this will be used for Krishna. Then it will be purified and it will not hanker continuously for this or that. That is the way to be. Just I want to be reminded if it is 10. Anyone can take this responsibility. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji, it is 10:6.
10:6. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so we can end with 14.16. This is also very, very beautiful verse. So, karmanaha कर्मणाः सुकृतस्यागुः सात्विकं निर्मलं फलं रजसस्तु फलं दुःखं अज्ञानं तमसः फलं. By acting in the mode of goodness, one becomes purified. What's done in the mode of passion result in distress, and actions performed in the mode of ignorance result in foolishness. See, this is the most beautiful part of it. Goodness we can understand. Somebody is already in the goodness, then he becomes purified because he is following scriptures, he is doing all the duties as is given by his guru, or as per the parampara, all that he's doing. So naturally, it will be purified. He's taking the right food. All this is happening. The most interesting part is works done in the mode of passion results in distress. So if the distress is happening in the world and for which there are million and trillion dollar of medicine companies are there for the you know for the stress management or stress medicines, etc., then we can understand that we are in the mode of passion, and this mode of passion is only bringing this distress. So we should not say that some situation is giving distress. Some situation has happened in the family, some situation has happened in the office, some situation has happened in the market, or something happened in the business. That is not the reason. Reason is inside. That means we saw that three deities, right? The three deities is just holding us in the thread like a puppet, and we can't do anything. If we are in the mode, we are in that mode. So if we are in the mode of passion, then we'll act like that and we'll be always distressed. Why distressed? Because every action, because one thing is there, every action has an equal and opposite reaction is one part. But one more thing important is that karmanya adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana, he has said. What does it mean? That we do not have the right to the result of our action. If we do not have the right, that it may so happen that the result will not come. And if it doesn't come, it brings despair. If it despair, then it brings distress. So all these are, consequent to each other. So action performed in the mode of ignorance, of course, result in foolishness. Absolute foolishness. And what is foolishness? Foolishness is just the opposite of the knowledge. So we can say the mode of ignorance is just the opposite of the mode of what? Sattva or goodness. So if in Sattva somebody is already knowledge of Krishna, then he is in the delusion, absolute foolishness. Moodha, he says. Okay, so we can end here. So I just have to stop sharing, and then of course I have to